All right. Good morning, everyone. Not too much in terms of announcements for this morning. Um, yeah, we're going to do our best to get the leaderboard up tonight. Marking's taking a little bit longer. You'll see, as we keep saying, we're going to try and improve on week. You'll have a much more detailed rubric coming out. And so as we get to know and explore that, marking is progressing. It's taking a little bit longer than we expected. So we'll do our best to get it up tonight. If it's going to be delayed, we'll let you know. So keep an eye on Slack out for that. Some people I had posted an article on agency, and some people had asked for a discussion on that. So we're going to do that discussion on Slack using the ideas channel, starting in half an hour, so just after the stand-up. So we won't do a Google Meet discussion, mainly because I think it's easier for other people to follow. It's good to have text-based interactions. I also think that there's some value in taking a little bit of time to think things through when we're reflecting, and I think Slack should promote that. I think in person also helps with that. Video conferencing is maybe, especially with people's video off and people are muted, it's probably not the best way to have, I find, to have a discussion where there's reflection. So let's try that discussion at 11 o'clock or in half an hour, 11 o'clock Rwanda time on agency on Slack. Last point from my side is that the CBAs, so from what I'm seeing, there's not a lot of participation in the CBAs, and Prosper's whole raison d'etre, his reason to be there, is to help support some of the, I think people are saying that they're getting tired and it's becoming a little bit difficult from time to time. That's why Prosper is there, and I think the CBAs are a really useful tool for that. So I would encourage everyone, it may not be directly related to coding, but it is important. We are spending a lot of time together. We are doing a lot of work, and there's a lot of stuff that's happening. There's a lot of work that's there. There's some stress. People are tense, and having a community of people that you work with is important, and getting to know who they are. So I would just encourage everyone not to treat the CPAs as kind of like the jokes that I post, but rather the CPAs as a chance to talk, to discuss, to get to know each other. So please, we do have a CPA every day. I think Prosper is one of the most engaged people that we have. If you guys have ideas, TED Talks, engage, spend that 30 minutes in the day engaging with the CPA. So those are the only things that I wanted to say. There's Prosper right now. Prosper, you just missed my pitch to the crowd. Maybe you want to add to that. Just reflecting or responding to some of the people who are saying that it's difficult and there's a lot of stuff that's happening. It's sometimes stressful. I was encouraging everyone to use the CBAs not as a nice to have, or wouldn't it be, if you have time to join, but really to dedicate 30 minutes a day to being part of the CBA. I don't know if you want to add something to that.
Yeah, I think that's it. So basically just try to make time, because I believe that in as much as you want to be a bit serious with the work, you also need some time to reflect and connect on other things that you probably haven't talked about. And for me, I'm big on teamwork, and try to use those times to help. So now that we are given some points to encourage you to be a part, just commit some time, make that 30 minutes of your time to be available. I think another thing I noticed is usually on Tuesdays, which are our interim submissions, you might not be so engaged in it. So whenever you have time, just have that. And now we have our dedicated channel. So please just make time to contribute. And I'm taking note of everyone's participation. So please be there and make time for it. All right.
And just last point from my side to add on to that, I think that in the long run, over the 12 weeks, we still have 8 weeks left together. This will be beneficial to you for the next 8 weeks, but it's one of the best things that you will get from this program is getting to know some of your colleagues. So please take this opportunity to do that. Yeah. Okay. That's all from my side. Yevabel, Sebastian, Prosper, anyone else from the team?
I think later I want to comment on last week's challenge. I think that's quite an interesting one, and I would really want to encourage the people who did in the group of Egypt. They did amazing work. I think that's one of the best work. I didn't expect that much work, and I think that's great. But most most others, sometimes I felt they didn't understand, and a few individuals definitely did really quite good, but there was quite a repetition of misunderstanding. So in the spirit, I think you will probably, from your coding side, you will get just how it's graded, and then that should communicate to you, you know, what is evaluated. So even if there is no comment, but I think that this week's grading will be much more detailed, so that you know exactly, you know, what is kind of where you missed a certain point and where you gained certain points, such that you know, like, which elements kind of you did well and which elements you didn't do well. So yeah, but I will just comment maybe later when everyone is joined, so just we can continue.
Okay. Yeah, should we do the stand-up, or do you want to do the reflection now? You have to go.
No, I think let's do the stand-up, and then, because I think still some people are joining, so just
Okay.
I think let's just do the stand-up now.
All right, who's going first?
Stephanie suggested.
All right, Stephanie. Let's try the recommendations again. So if you want to recommend somebody, let's just put it in the chat. We'll start off with Stephanie.
Okay, good morning. So I've been trying to tackle task 2. I've been getting a few challenges, but I'm reaching out to our tutors and my fellow trainees. So yeah, so far not that bad. I think the issues that I have, I can sort them by the end of the day. So yeah, thank you.
Super. All right, we have Samuel Nagash.
I think, if I'm not mistaken, it's Samuel in office usually, and he's unable to talk, or
he's not online.
No, but also usually
He can't talk.
it's like he's in the office, so he is not able to talk. He says he's not able to, but if he is there, just
Okay. We have permanent beta. Augustine. Okay. Memory. Memory.
Hello. Morning. Can you hear me?
Good morning.
I've also been working on the challenge so far, and I think I have a block. I'm blocked at task 2, but I seeked help, but then I was told to wait for today because it was late yesterday. And basically, yes, I'm trying to learn something new. Yes.
Okay. Augustine has put his comments in the, he's in the office, he's responded in the chat with his kind of stand-up comment. We have Ola. How do you say your name, Emmanuel? Osualole Emmanuel?
Hello, good morning.
Good morning. How do you say your name in the correct way?
Ushwolale, I don't know if Ushwolale, I don't know if
Okay.
yes, you did very well. Good morning.
Morning.
Good morning, everyone. I've been working on the week 2 challenge, the week 4 challenge, the task 2 has been heartbreaking. I still am trying to understand how we are going to choose the metrics. Like that is basically what I've been trying to do yesterday, how to choose the metrics. I don't know how to explain it here now. That is just the block I've had now. There was no specification on how to choose those metrics and anywhere. So maybe after the start of talk, I will ask about it.
All right. We have Claire. Claire
Good morning,
Mondula.
everyone.
Morning.
So I've been working on task 2 since yesterday. I'm hoping to finish the A/B test today and make my comments on the results that I get. Some of the blockers that I've been experiencing is just the confusion that happens when you read a lot of material, but I think I'm getting somewhere. Yeah.
Great.
So if I suggest just to be more productive in this one, so if you just mention one thing that kind of is you are expecting also just that it will block you or that you're having some kind of difficulty, just so that if it's concrete, then it's better, like if the other people also share it or not. So it's kind of, if you can make it slightly explicit what kind of challenge or blocks that you're having, it's conceptual, technical, then it kind of is good if you could do that. Yeah, let's proceed.
Okay. Wamuyu. So let's be explicit in the feedback, please, as Yefubel said.
Okay. Good morning. I hope you can hear me.
Yeah.
Yes.
Good morning.
Okay. So yesterday was a bit of a busy day, so I didn't get any time to put into my challenge exactly. But I continue to look at more articles and continue to find my knowledge in the A/B testing, because it's really a bit confusing, especially when it comes to the implementation of the code. So I went through a resource by Datacamp, and I started on a sample on like a different notebook, so that I could have some experience on how to do it. Then I loaded now for the actual notebook for this week's project, and I started working towards now creating the notebook for the challenge. Yeah, so that's what I've been up to. I'm sorry for the background noise.
Okay. Rahel.
Hello everyone, good morning.
Morning.
Okay, so I've been working on the tasks and I think I'm fine with the classical A/B testing and machine learning, but I have a little difficulties on the sequential. I don't think I'm not understanding the code, the starting code, and or if we're supposed to understand it, I don't know. So I have a little technical difficulties on it, and the rest is fine, I think.
Great. So we can ask Ababao if that is something everyone is struggling. We can have another session. I think the sequential testing is difficult. So what if you might make just one prediction out of it, that's sufficient. But yeah, it's kind of try to balance between these three: the sequential test, the classical, and the AB, like the machine learning. And the most important part is if you really distinguish between what you do with the machine learning versus what you do with like the classical one. And if the sequential testing is something that I would say don't waste too much time. And if everyone requests, I think, if just anyone makes it work, try to kind of share the concept and the kind of why how it works. And because it kind of takes a longer time, and it's quite complicated sometimes. But if you need also probably further tutorial, then we try to arrange. I mean, it's not a guarantee, but we definitely can try to arrange. So just put it in Slack, because the sequential tests, just know that it's not that straightforward. It gets a lot of concepts, and then given the other works, you might want to balance between these three. And if I say if you have to balance between having a result on the classical and on the machine learning. So, but those of you who manage to get the three of it work, I think that's really great.
Great. We have TJ Sunimi.
Okay, good morning, everyone.
Morning.
Okay, okay. Actually, this week has been kind of tough because something else came up for me to do. So I've been trying to combine two things together. So actually, for the challenge, I stopped at understanding what A and B testing is all about. So actually, I just decided to start my challenge, like the real work, this morning, because I've been doing other things. So, and I think it's an interesting challenge. So I think I would catch up then. Anyway, I would try and ask my teammates also, so I would go faster. So I think that's for me over here.
Okay, great. Ilakura, Idowu Ilakura. I'm sorry for butchering the names. Evelyn, I think Evelyn has actually left the course, so that's we'll have to update that. Ken Baya.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
So what I did yesterday was try to do task, but I mostly focused on the plotting part. What I plan to do today is try to do the sequential A/B testing and see if it will work, and then start on the machine learning one if I have enough time to do it. Yeah. For blockers, I don't think I have any blockers so far. Yeah.
Ayabila?
Yeah, good morning. So I attempted the A/B testing last night. To me, it looked like it was simple, but yet I'm not too sure it's supposed to be that simple. So I want to ask Yabugo after here to see if there's something I'm doing wrong or that's right writing up that. Because the papers that I've read relating to A/B testing seem to be having so many procedures, and yet when I got to where I'm supposed to actually do it, and I realized that it's some simple step. So I will need confirmation on that. And so far I think all is well, and I'm looking forward to also finishing earlier on time. I can have a very good analysis, write a good report for the tutors.
So I think that's great feedback. I'm sure you have more to say. I think that's great feedback, and I would just want to encourage you to write it up in the kind of public group, and just encourage you to take a bit of time and explain exactly what your question is. If you're finding it too simple, what is it that you're finding too simple? What approach did you take, and what's your specific question? There's an art to writing things up that make it understandable to other people on the team, and this will also be important for you, each of you, as you get ready for the world of work. Explain what it is that you tried, what results you're getting, and what is your real question. What are you finding so simple? And I think it's good to write that up. It's over the last couple of days, I've also seen people have been just in one place that I worked, it was called a drive-by, where you just kind of pop out a question or pop out and say, can I do this? What about this? It's worth taking a little bit of time to write up your thoughts in a measured way and to think, make sure that it's understandable and you've thought through the different repercussions of what you're proposing. So I would just encourage you to write that up in a clear way, because I'm sure that what you're facing, other people might be facing something similar.
Okay, sure.
You have about
one thing, one thing I want to add on that is that it's kind of really, if you think of Stack Overflow and why you like it, it's because somebody wrote it, right? Somebody explicitly wrote their problem. And I admit I probably didn't write much on Stack Overflow and I just consume it, right? But when you have then a smaller subset like our channel, then it's easier because now you're okay, like you get feedback immediately. So why didn't I post in Stack Overflow? Probably was like, okay, I was not sure how long I should wait after posting, right? But here you really, and that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to really get quick answers as much as possible. Of course, we can't provide all that, but we believe that because of the network, everyone can just write and even just confirm if they have done it, right? And if the students didn't kind of give that answer, maybe that's kind of the same problem that everyone is facing. So by just putting it out, by just actually enriching this communication, it becomes a Stack Overflow kind, and then you start really coming over and over and benefiting. And the more you know, the more you will value it. So, but it needs some kind of really initiative from everyone to kind of articulate their problem in such a way that other people can just, I think Rahel last time said, mentioned it, that you sometimes will see the problem ahead, before you encounter the problem, and that kind of helps you, because then when you start encountering it, some people were talking about this, so you can just go and check it. So I think it's a very good thing. It's a hard habit. It's a habit that we need to adapt, but it needs initiative, like a self-initiative. So I would encourage, I think, that you start articulating your problems in such a way that as a group we grow. Yeah.
Abu Bakr?
Hello, good morning.
Good morning.
Yes. So I started working on the task 2 yesterday. It seems a little bit complicated when looking at the sequential code, starter code that was provided. As Yababa stated, it's sequential A/B testing seems a little bit hard, so I focused on doing the classical A/B testing. So far, so good. I've been following the explanation Usman provided with the code he gave us yesterday. The blockers I have right now would be the task 2.2 that deals with the machine learning, how to specify the target variable, and but I believe if I can successfully finish the classical A/B testing, I should be able to do it. I also have some blockers that I have not really understand how to actually articulate the question in a proper way. So I'm still thinking about it. So if I get it right, then I'll be able to send it to Slack and look for options to solve them.
Great.
So somebody's nominated Sebastian. I'm not sure what. Sebastian, you've been nominated by Emmanuel. But let's go on to the learners. So we have Nabil and Nahum. So let's start with Nabil. Is Nabil here? If not, then we'll go to Nahum. I also don't see Nahum online. Is he here? Okay. Chala? Jean has successfully created a system that picks people who are not on the call. I don't know if this is random.
I'm using Mekari algorithm to select that, but yeah, I don't know if people are not there. We can just
no. You've successfully picked people who are not here. So Tijin Sumi is Sunimi is
it's Markeli's code, so she should be accountable.
Okay, so we have Anna, and then we have Anastasia, and then Aminu. Bello.
Okay, hello.
Morning.
Okay, good morning to you too. So this week I can say it's one of my toughest weeks, because the statistics is not one of my strongholds. I've not gone through the basics a lot from my degree. So this week it's almost like starting from 2, let's say 2 out of 10, not 0. Yeah, otherwise I've been going through the reading materials, and you can see a flow. So I think the reading materials will help me a lot this week. Yeah, so I think that's it about me.
Okay, and is Aminu here? No, I don't think so. Last chance, or actually, it's a perfect time for you'd wanted to reflect.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think just also good to just, Anastasia just mentioned it. I think statistics is not our natural knowledge paradigm. And if you want to get convinced about that, read this book called Thinking Slow, Fast and Slow. That's the whole behavioral study on statistics and humans. And however you are educated, however complicated you are, you will just miss some concepts from statistics. Why? Because the way our brain thinks is very different from the kind of the formalism, the probabilistic formalism. So it's the only way to ensure that you are actually the kind of correct is to really get always to update yourself and know more and get in the middle of this challenge. So it's really take note that it's not intuitive. Like it sounds sometimes intuitive, but it's not, because it really is not the way that we think. So with that, what I wanted to stress is that, so when I was looking at the different quotes that everyone shared for the week 3, there was one that really stands out a lot, and that is the Egypt thing. And I think last time Emmanuel probably mentioned it here. I think it's a group work, but he mentioned it that they were not given the chance to kind of see through the code, and I only pointed them, in the tutorial or in the challenge was just like you were only pointed to one code, but they went ahead and then kind of explored the package, and they found a lot of ways and did a lot of things that was not requested, including identifying seasonal changes, which is that they identified, I think, Friday as one of the time in Egypt that became like kind of counts more instead of the weekend, and kind of trying to reason out. And there were a number of other such analysis, and they went and checked about like a convergence, this and that. And that's really what I would say an exceptional work, because their work, I wrote to them for all of the people that are in that team. I think their work is close to what you consider as like real research, because it's not, sometimes it's like you have to take that kind of beyond when you have. I mean, I think it's sometimes when it's a new concept to you, understanding the basic takes a lot of time. So I'm not demanding that, but it's a good thing that sometimes you go out. So for example, there was also one of the team in the Kenyan team, they actually implemented, so the kind of the second question, which is the hypothetical question, into like getting the Twitter data for Kenyan corruption, and then kind of like looking at the patterns. Didn't go into the whole detail of thing, but it's kind of something that it means like people are working for themselves instead of only for the challenge. And I think sometimes for some topics are easier for some than others, so that I understand, but it's a good thing to be encouraged to just like always, trying to do the best you can within the framework and constraints you have. So that's why I would like to really say, I think they should be able to give a talk on what they did and how they approached it, if they haven't already done so. And then, because I think the analysis will benefit everyone else, in kind of like, I think everyone could do a very similar thing. And especially those people who want to publish whatever they did in Medium and other blogs, I think it's good that you get, we get an exchange kind of experience exchange. So that's what I want to say. And I think another thing that I could do, if that's useful, is like last time, we can have an open session now, just after this, where like you just only ask. I am not prepared on anything, but on this in the current challenge, which is just a sequential test thing, you can just ask conceptual things that you are finding it like not connected, or somehow like just, if you get that kind of understanding, you probably could move faster. And that's what would be the point. So if that helps, we'll stop this one, and then we can continue another session on that one. So yeah, that's what I would propose. I think from my side, that's it.
Yeah, Abel, just before we stop, could you maybe give a couple of more details on what really impressed you about the Egyptian team's analysis? You gave some, but could you go maybe
I mean,
a little bit more?
if one of you, maybe Emmanuel, or I think there were Hadi and others, if one of you just share your screen, that would be great. Or I can share, but probably it's good just if they, and you will see the difference, like, because everyone has seen has been in the challenge. So anyone can share from the Egyptian team their. If not, I'm just gonna. So this is one of the things, for example, README was very key for me. Like, and most of you have 4 credits, so that means the README was already included, which is great. And some of you didn't think about the README at all, and that's one thing that you will see that. And then another part, of course, here the README doesn't tell what is what. I had to guess, but the title was good enough that it was okay for me to understand. So let's start from just like the Team Egypt one. So
sir, please go to Kernel 4. Kernel 4. That is
I know that, but I just wanna show what is like some of the things that is very important. It's about even kind of explaining and going and really thinking about what that means. So you will see just how, I mean, how some of the explanations were given was not just to describe, but it was a thinking process going on. And here is, for example, this is kind of leading to now, okay, not only for their understanding, but if this notebook is shared, then people can understand actually also the kind of process. So that's kind of like, this is not asked, but they kind of wanted to understand it, or they kind of try to give. So this was the part. And another part that I really like, and a few people only did it, is just kind of trying to write functions, making it modular, such that you can reuse it again and again, such that you don't, I mean, sometimes I see repeated things, but these are the way that in Python that at least you need to define certain functions, even if they are small like that, but it's good because it kind of, either you change the name and stuff. So that's kind of thing. And then they went and understood about the model, and they tried to understand how the kind of the model relations, the network graph, basically, nobody has done that, like not even close, right? I mean, in a sense, like this is kind of asking, I think they were kind of trying to understand it. The way I understand it, that they were trying to understand the code, and they used the group. I'm sure, like, instead of one person, few people kind of iterated. So they used the advantage of the group and kind of went and started understanding what is like the, like whether the convergence it is. And that's what is in the paper, even it's not given in the paper, but it's kind of given in the descriptions. So they kind of could see what is going on in it. And so here, for example, some people even did better. They kind of make it, expanded it, it gets cleaner. But here, it's relevant. But what is the point is that the prediction, most of people got the prediction wrong. They thought prediction is to run again another MCMC, while it's actually, I mean, this could have, of course, been better if they were in the same graph. But that, that's, of course, almost always, like, you are exploring, there's always like an excellent one and just like a good one. And some things are excellent, some things are good. And you kind of see a lot of analysis going on, right? But then not only that, there is also another analysis where they did not ask at all in the challenge. And that is to do, I think I'll just go to the result, maybe. Okay, so no, it's not, it's the same thing, but it's same thing, but with different analysis. This is the final version of what I just showed, right? So it's kind of the forecasted values and actual values and blah, blah. So I'm gonna go to the, which one was that? And trying, was that, where was the, was that here probably? So there was some analysis that was done on.
So model selection.
Is that in the model selection? No, like where you have analyzed the, so that's one thing, for example, I can't know. So that's where they get a little bit, of course, less point for that. I just can't understand what is what. So I had to click everything. So where you analyze the seasonality, in which okay, maybe
COVID in Egypt, COVID in Egypt, sir, for the seasonality.
Okay. Yeah, so for example, here, another thing that no one has attempted is, which is again given, it's how you select models. So this was like, instead of just with different models and how you select whether they are good or bad or okay. So this is kind of, again, following on the paper. This was another exceptional work, I would say. So is that this one? What did he say? It's probably, this is the only one I didn't click, or.
So it's COVID-19 in Egypt.
Okay. So here is the data analysis part. So they did, I think some groups have also done, but here on this team, they did actually looked at the data, analyzed the data before already the modeling, which gets a lot of insight about its kind of different evolution. But more than that, I think what is really, I would say, is this part, which is a small part, but it's kind of a very important part, decomposing the plots into multiple seasonality and trends, and then kind of extracting some insight like that, which otherwise is like, so for example, Egypt recorded like that, and while coronavirus in Egypt on the decline on the number of recoveries recorded daily is more than the number of confirmed cases, this is also noticeable spike on Fridays, which may be that there's collected or report update on Fridays. So these are insights that are like that. That's only that sometimes can be just what is called a scientific paper, right? Because you kind of get insight that is probably not visible if you don't do that kind of analysis. That's by what I mean exceptional work. So it's something you are not asked, but you kind of are thinking about what would improve it, and kind of you put your own kind of exploration of understanding, and it adds value a lot. So I think you will see it. Everybody has really done a fantastic job, and I have been telling to a lot of other people, this was really an amazing group in general. Everybody, like not just only the team Egypt, but everybody has done really exceptional. But it's also good to notice that you can improve sometimes, especially when you're in a group. You can divide and conquer and meet and kind of enrich the experience. So that's, I hope that is clear.
Sounds great. Maybe just a very brief suggestion for everyone. If you want to add, I know that some people say they're looking at each other's GitHub profiles. It would be a good idea for all of us to add our GitHub profile link in our Slack profile, just so that people can click through and follow. So I think Prosper can follow up on that, or I'll link up with Prosper. Maybe that'll be a good way for people to be able to follow what they're doing. So I'm going to stop the recording now, and then Yevabel is going to stay online for people who want to discuss week 4. And we'll do for anyone who wants to take part in the agency discussion, Slack all ideas. And yeah, thanks everyone.
So if there is, Arun, is there another program that, is it like?
I think there was just I think a few people who wanted to discuss this idea of high agency. So we're going to do that on Slack.
Okay. So, but if you want to,
I think we can do it in parallel. No, I think we can do it in parallel.
Good. Okay. No,
all right.
Have
a super day, guys.
Cool. Yeah. So I will be here for the next 30 minutes. So if you have any question, just unmute your